Hello, grade 5. So yesterday we stopped on this page in the mystery of the cellar window in your literature anthology textbook. So we stopped at the part where the children discovered that this is now a mystery. The children need to solve a problem, and what is the problem? They need to find out if the window is broken or not. So here in Act 2, Scene 2, the setting is the cellar of Grandma J's house, moments later after the window was supposedly broken. It says, against the wall is a bookcase. Jacob, Caleb, Vera, and Miguel are in the cellar searching. So they're looking for the baseball in the cellar to see if they broke the window or if they didn't. I'll go outside and look into the window. Maybe it'll help us figure out where the ball went. He exits and the group continues searching another minute. Miguel calls from offstage. Hey, who turned off the lights? No one, the lights are on. Miguel runs back. I look through the broken window and it is dark inside. I can see into the cellar through all the other windows except for that one. We were playing at the back of the house. That means the broken window should be back here. Caleb heads toward the back wall and the others follow. Vera looks around, but there's no window here. Caleb inspects the bookcase. There's something suspicious about this bookcase. Isn't it oddly placed? He looks at the base below the bottom shelf. And look, don't these look like wheels? Let's see if we can move it and see what's behind it. Caleb and Jacob push the bookcase and expose a small door. A door! Jacob opens the door, revealing a darkened room. Wait here, I'll get flashlights. So here the acts and the scenes break the action of a play into important parts, just like when you are reading a book, the chapters break down the book. So this is what is happening in this act and in this scene. Miguel went outside because he couldn't find the broken window from inside the cellar. So he looks through the window and it is dark. Even though the lights are on in the cellar. And this tells the group that something strange is happening, so they decide to investigate. So this broken window leads to an investigation. So it's broken from the outside, but it's unbroken on the inside. How is this possible? So they find that behind the bookcase in the cellar there is a hidden door. Right? It says here a small door was exposed. And we know that in mysteries, and this is something we discussed in class, that authors often use details to build suspense for the reader. And what is suspense? It makes the reader want to read more about a story or read more about to find out what happens next. So here when the kids investigate the broken window in the cellar, they discover what? They discover the secret door, and the author is building suspense through the events that are leading up to the discovery of the secret door. Why is there a secret door? Why is this important to our story? So here we can guess that the secret room leads to another room that must be very dark. That's why, because the secret door was covering this room. Okay, let's move on to Act 2, Scene 3. Here, our setting is the cellar a few days later. It says Grandma J, Celia Andrews, and the children are in the cellar. Daniel Cruz, Nell, and Jennifer are there along with Patricia Cole and Dr. Cedric Brown, a local historian. So here we're introduced to a new character, Dr. Cedric Brown. Dr. Brown is holding some old newspapers and scraps of clothing. Nell holds up her right hand, counts down to airtime, and points to Daniel Cruz. So again, guys, remember that Jennifer and Nell, these are the people who work with Daniel Cruz, who is the news reporter. I'm in the cellar of the old house on East Chester Road, the site of the proposed new playground. Jean Andrews has lived here since she was a child, and now she's almost 90. Last week her grandchildren went in search of a baseball and were astounded by what they found instead. Here to tell us about all that is history professor Dr. Cedric Brown. So they were shocked They were astounded. We said astounded means that you are amazed, all right, or pleasantly surprised. So they were amazed by what they found when they looked for the baseball. Here to tell us about all that is history professor Dr. Cedric Brown. Well, first of all, old houses like this one have a lot to tell us about the history of this area. An old house like this is a window into history. So here, this is how we get our play's name. He pauses. The children found a room that had been concealed behind a bookcase. Inside they found these remnants of abolitionist newspapers and scraps of clothes made from burlap bags. But tell us, what does this mean? Well, some time ago we found letters that indicated that some houses in this city might have housed enslaved people who escaped to the north around the time of the Civil War. We had thought that these houses had burned in a town fire long ago. Given these historical records, the age of this house, and the contents of the hidden room, I interpret this to mean that the old house was a stop on the Underground Railroad. Then Daniel Cruz says to Grandma J, to give credit where credit is due, it was your inquisitive, your curious grandchildren that made the discovery. Were you surprised by what they found? Yes, all these years I was living in a house with such history and didn't know it. Dr. Brown, please tell us what this means to the Andrews family and what this means to our city. So they found scraps of abolitionist newspapers and clothing made from burlap bags. These were found in the house. Letters and other records show evidence of this house's age and the historical importance of the house. So Cedric here, or the expert, believes that this house is very important to the city's history, right? So it's like it is a historical monument, and this cannot be torn down. Okay, so we can use all of these details to picture an old house with a hidden room. We can picture Grandma's house, an old house with a hidden room that was used as a stop on the Underground Railroad, and this important piece of history is the reason that the house was saved. Okay, this house can't be torn down. Not for a playground, not for anything. It will be declared a historic monument. City Council President Patricia Cole is here. He turns to Patricia Cole. I am proud of the role this city played in trying to help people gain their freedom. This great monument to our past will remain, but the children will have their playground. In light of this discovery, we've decided to keep this property intact and extend the playground onto another lot near the school. Grandma J taps her cane on the floor. Daniel Cruz turns to her. The city gets its playground, and I hope I'll get what I like most, visitors. I'd be happy to show the families who visit the playground a part of the city's and my past. This is Daniel Cruz reporting to you from East Chester Road, where a house that offered a second chance at life during a time of slavery gets a second chance too. So here the word monument is used. It says that her house will be declared a historic monument. So the word monument here helps the reader understand how important this house is to the city's history. And of course, Patricia Cole has changed from the beginning of the play. She now views the discovery as positive. It shows the role of the city in helping people to gain freedom. So it offered shelter, and people hid here during the time of slavery. So her view of the house changes from thinking that it should be torn down to thinking that it is an important part of the town's past and that it should remain and people should be allowed to come and visit it. Okay, let's return to the essential question. The essential question is on page 282. What can you discover when you give things a second look? So what can we discover when we give something a second look? So think about how the city council first thought that Grandma J's house should be torn down. They thought that it's just a house and it's not important. But if we build if they build a playground, this is going to benefit a lot of children. So when they took a second look at the pieces of history that were found inside the house, they changed their mind, and they saw that it was an important part of the town's history and it should not be destroyed.